Welcome back. As much as we in Colombo may find it easier to move on from the war, there are places that the fighting left devastated. And not just in terms of land and infrastructure, but also in terms of people and whole communities. For the north and the east, moving on will prove much more difficult and may take many, many years. I spoke with activist and politician Shanthi Satchithanandam about the post-war, post-election scenario in those areas. It's been almost 1 year since the war came to an end and just about 1 month since the general elections concluded. The government is promising to take the country forward into a new era of development and prosperity. Do you think we are on the right track, or is it too early to tell?
It's too early to tell, but the government has said that it will make Sri Lanka as a model of, it looks like a Southeast Asian country, so maybe something like Malaysia. So it's too early to tell, but let's wait and see.
The general elections were historical in terms of the vast number of candidates, but as usual it was dominated by the main political parties. You yourself stood for election, and as an independent candidate and as a woman, what was your experience?
Because I was a woman, we were able to meet with a lot of women's groups. And women came specifically to listen to, because it was a novel thing, a woman campaigning somewhere. It was really quite enjoyable. We were reaching out to those people who wouldn't usually be part of a political meeting or a discourse. So that gave us an added advantage in meeting with people. It was a very, very enjoyable experience, I must say, meeting with people, just generally going around talking to them, and that was a good beginning to our future political work there.
Do you feel that people were eager to be a part of the electoral process?
No, I think there were lots of sense of frustration, despondency, saying that what can we do now? We failed everywhere, that kind of a question was there. So not like that, but then they like to meet with us, and because we gave them an opportunity to talk about politics. I know so many women's groups, they said that they had never ever discussed politics in their lives, and here we discuss.
What about the overall development in the north and east? What are the most pressing concerns at the moment?
Present, the most critical is livelihoods. I think anywhere, even if a family doesn't have a roof over its head, they're really struggling to survive. In the Vani district, they themselves say if they can have means of employment and generation of income, they can look after themselves. So I think the most critical issue is livelihood. But there are lots of factors related to livelihood, like access to land. That's a question, especially in the Vani district. So access to land has to be assured. Then establishment of markets, that has to come there, and also some kind of skills enhancement, because they've been living in like a subsistence economy due to the war, and now they have been linked with the southern markets and as well as the international market. So they have to start catering to that. So some kind of a skills enhancement, vocational training or business counseling is necessary. So if you think the affected displaced population is, let's say, 500,000 all over, taken totally, it's a very conservative estimate. So you have to start dealing with at least 100,000 households in this. So that's the biggest concern. The second is, of course, housing. The government says, again, a conservative estimate that you need 500,000 houses in the Vani districts alone. So you can see, what the level of, the volume of work that needs to be done.
So what would you like to see happening in the north and east in the coming years from the government?
I think the local authorities have to be strengthened, and the provincial councils have to be strengthened much more than what they are doing now. Why is rehabilitation with the central government? It can be given to the provincial council. They can make decisions about building houses. decisions about self-employment ventures, economic projects, small ventures, nothing big. It's not like a industrial estate that we are talking about. So I think that has to be strengthened, or else the central government cannot really ensure that you can reach to each and every family of this affected community and then really serve their needs. What is happening right now is all infrastructure, big infrastructure projects.
How big an impact do you think this will have with the people
Nothing
of the North and
really,
East?
because the labor is also being brought from outside. So, I mean,
So do you think they should be more involved and they're not being
when you plan large programs, you have to look at a very important factor as to how it benefits the local community living in that area. So you have to make provisions for that, either labor or some training or something. Maybe some suppliers can come from the local community, but I'm afraid we don't see that happening. So that is what's going on. And there is this Northern Spring, that's the program that the government has rolled out since last year. And there are some livelihoods issues that are being addressed through that project, but it's far less than what is really needed. And all these programs are being crafted in Colombo and they are being sent out, not taking into the intricacies of the different areas, the locations, the different communities that live, their specific problems. These are not taken into consideration, so a lot of improvement needs to be done there.